Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm glad you could make it. If you're new here, my name is Renata. In today's video, I am going to chop up this Monstera adansonii that I have. It's growing well off the moss pole, as you can see. It's given me some really beautiful growth, like just look at the size of this leaf. It's bigger than my hand is. It's like about the same size as my little head. So it's given me some really beautiful growth, but I need the space where it was growing. I'll insert a clip of that space in a minute. I need that space for my Monstera deliciosa for when I bring it inside for the winter. And even though this plant has given me some really lovely growth, I'm kind of over moss poles. I don't want to have to deal with caring for a plant on a moss pole, so I'm going to chop this up. I'm going to keep some sections for myself, and I'm probably going to get rid of the rest of it, give it to people or sell it to people. So hopefully I'll be able to get some nice good sections from it. We'll see what I can do with it. So actually, the first thing I'm going to do before I lay the plant down is I'm going to show you the back of the moss pole. And you can see that it has a lot of really beautiful roots running through it. Here, 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 extending down. So my hope is that I'll be able to get some nice sections out of it. Just remove some bobby pins that I had used at one point to try to encourage the plant into the moss. The roots into the moss pole. The next thing I'm going to do is actually take off the double-sided garden tape, because I won't be needing that anymore. But that was also used to help encourage the roots into the moss pole. And one more. Okay. The next thing I'm going to do is try to carefully lie the plant down without spilling too much soil all over my floor, and without damaging the plant itself. Whoa. So there it is. So the moss pole is down here, the plant is here. Oh my goodness, look at this leaf. Look at this leaf. Doesn't have the best fenestrations on it, but look at this one. You can barely see it. Look at it, it's amazing. Put my hand behind it so you can sort of see the fenestrations a little bit. Anyway, amazing or not, I need the space. The plant has got to go. So I'm not really sure how I'm going to do this. I think what I want to do is cut the moss pole open And then everywhere where I see an aerial root going into the moss pole, I think I'm going to cut the chicken wire that's on the front to make a bigger opening. So yeah, I think that's going to be the plan for today. So the first thing I'm doing is I'm cutting the little zip tie closures off the moss pole so that I can separate the chicken wire from the plastic backing. And you could use regular scissors for this. I'm using wire cutters because I have them. I'll be using them later, so I figure I might as well use them now too. So yeah, I know that I've been kind of tired of moss poles for a while. I sold the other two plants that I had on moss poles, so I have no more. Once I get rid of this moss pole, I'll have no more moss poles in my house. And I just found it such a... I found the amount of work that went into maintaining the moss pole and extending the moss pole to maybe not be worth the reward of the moss pole. Especially the plants that I had on moss poles were plants that I was kind of not enamored with anymore. Like I had a philodendron silver sword and another bobby pin. Oh, some more bobby pins. Yeah, I had a silver sword, and I really liked the silver sword, the color of it, but I'm just not a fan of that philodendron leaf shape that's not heart leaf. That's, you know, everyone has their preferences, and that's just mine. If I'm gonna get a big philodendron, I'd like a heart leaf shape. And then on top of it, so that was the silver sword. So I chopped the top off of that and kept it in case I want to grow it again, because as I said, I really like the color. But I sold the bottom piece with the moss pole earlier this year, and I had a philodendron pink princess, and I could just never even get it to do anything very impressive. So I sold that. Earlier this year. I'm gonna leave that one for later. Maybe I'll take my scissors and see if they can. No, I'll leave it for later. Okay. So step one of deconstructing this beast is done. So there are, I don't know how many plants in here, 5 or 6 plants. So we have some aerial roots here. And I'm just going to try to cut. I hope that this will work. I'm going to just try to cut a hole around the aerial root. so that hopefully I will be able to get it out of the moss. Come on. Okay. Let's see, what is the next? Oh boy. All right, actually the first thing I'm going to do is, oh, another bobby pin. Is there anything holding this root in? There's an aerial root. Okay, I'm going to snip this down to the aerial root. So there. One section removed. I'm probably going to cut the bottom piece off, and I'm not even going to bother to save it for wet sticks because I already have new starts of this plant and I don't need more in my life. So let's see, do I have another section that I can just chop way back easily? So this one's roots here. Oops. Come on. So another section, top section removed. Some of these are not even very beautiful. Let's see, this I can prune back to here. So this is a nicer top section, a nice full top section here. This one I can prune back to here. And this one is a little better too. It's growing a little bit strangely. And I see I've already pruned it back. So it's not even a top cut. And then this, I can prune all the way back to here. Here's another pretty nice top section. The very tip isn't very nice, but it'll be fine. All right. So there are 3 top cuts there. Already this feels a little bit more manageable. As I said, I'm not going to keep midsections for wet sticks if there are no leaves on it, so I just popped that out and left the aerial roots. See, this goes, there's some leaves here. Yep, so I just cut this section off, leaving the aerial roots in the moss as well. What else do I have going on here? Okay. This I'm going to leave because it just goes into the soil. So this section I'm not going to bother keeping, because it only has 2 leaves on it. And I already kept a top cut from it. So let's see. This is the same way, actually. It has no leaves on it. Oh. This I'm going to leave. Okay, so this is rooted. What does it have going on? So this one here, there's one leaf at the very top. I'm just going to prune it way back. Pop it off the moss pole. Another section. Let's see. This section, what's going on here? Nothing is happening with this section. All right, that one I'm leaving. These two I'm leaving. So there's one nice section that has some rooting in me, that has some aerial root that I would like to keep. Okay. So I think my next step is going to be to try okay, that little aerial root was barely rooted in there. That one I just broke. That one I just broke. But this section will be fine. So actually, I didn't end up doing what I thought I was going to do. And this process has taken way less time than I thought it would. I still need to remove the moss pole and get the plants that are just growing in soil out, because they're well rooted. But yeah, this was a lot easier than I thought it was going to be. I guess when you're pretty heartless and don't care so much about keeping lots of sections of the plant, it's not so bad. So I'm just trying to work the moss pole out of the soil. The bottom of the moss pole itself was filled with soil, so hopefully oh wow, look at all of these roots that are coming out of the bottom of the moss pole. Okay. So now I'm going to need to repot these little guys into something smaller. I should have thought of that earlier. I don't even know what's going on here with this plant. So I'm just trying to loosen up the soil around the roots so that I can find out what even is happening with this plant. I don't know why there's a lot of like gray stuff. So I don't know what that gray stuff is. But doesn't seem to be hurting the plant. Let's see. That has nothing growing on it, so I'm just going to pop it off. So it looks like it's all originally coming from one plant that just has multiple growth points. Oh boy. All right, when I just said that this had been easier than I thought, that was before I remembered about the repotting part of this process. Yeah, I'm gonna figure out what's going on with the roots, and then I think I will probably put this into semi-hydro. What is this junk? If I didn't know myself better, I would have thought I'd put, oh, I think it's orchid bark that's just been broken down or something. But orchid bark doesn't break down, but I don't know, maybe when I repotted it, I just kept the original potting soil it was in, and it came from a big box store, and maybe it was bad potting soil and I just kept that. It's possible. And so it's not orchid bark, but some other very thin. It almost, if I didn't know better, I would have thought it was like these thin little chips of something that are organic. They look like bark, but they're not nice and thick like orchid bark would be. So I don't know what that is, because I've never had that in my house. And I think what I'm going to do with the moss pole itself is try to take it apart and rescue moss if I can. I don't know if I'll be able to rescue any moss. God, these roots are so dried out. I've been so neglecting this poor plant. I hope that it's not going to like kill this plant completely. But I have all those cuttings and I have my own propagations I've started, but oh, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna clean these roots off well, and I have some starts in my bathroom. Not some starts, but I have some Monstera adansonii already growing in my bathroom. I'm using it to hide a piece of hideous wall art that was on the wall here that I can't pry off, and since this is a rental, I don't feel that possessed to work hard on getting it off. I just cover it up with plants instead. So yeah, it looks like this is all one plant. There was just one plant that has multiple growth points on it. So you see there's like one primary stem, and then everything is kind of growing from that. So yeah, I think I'm gonna rinse this off and try to combine it with the plant in my bathroom that's in semi-hydro. That might be a little bit rough on this poor plant since I haven't watered it for a while. Nice, there's styrofoam in this soil. This soil is going straight out. I do not like it. All right, so this is going to go into my bathroom. The cuttings I took are going to get propagated in water, and then eventually I will plant them in soil, and they will go, I will sell them. And then the rest of the moss pole, I'm going to try to remove as much of the moss as possible, pull out the roots. The roots will go into the aerial roots that are in the moss pole will go into the compost. The moss itself, I'll probably keep. So yeah, the moss itself I will probably keep. I had put some bamboo stakes in to help hold the moss pole in place after before I extended it. Actually, I did that. So I will remove those and reuse those. The plastic zip ties will, this has roots attached to it, this third bamboo pole. The plastic zip ties will go into the trash. The bobby pins I might keep to reuse them, although since I'm trying to not grow on moss poles anymore, if I can avoid it, I'm not sure. But I think basically that's going to be what I show you of today's project, because everything else is pretty self-explanatory. And then the only other things, there are a couple of little updates that I'm very excited about. I'm going to take you off the tripod and show you around to a couple of plants that I've got exciting updates about. So let me stand up, get some of this dirt that I spilled on myself off, get my camera, and show you some plant updates. So the first planty update is I just came back from running some errands, and I was at Lowe's and they had Burl Marks Flame there. So I bought one. I don't have room for it. I'm really obsessed with how thick these leaves are. I hadn't realized they were that way, but I was, this is still obviously in its juvenile form, but I'm very excited about it. But I was watching Good Growing's channel and a few weeks ago, and she had a video where she talked about getting a Burl Marks Flame and about how she was influenced to get it by her Patreons because of how thick the leaves are and the way they feel. And I gotta tell you, she was not wrong. Like the Burl Marks Flame, when it's adult, I'll try to insert a clip, is a pretty attractive plant. But yeah, the thickness of those leaves is something really interesting. And also, please excuse the mess on the table behind you. This is just where I put my plants when I let them, while I'm letting them adjust to my house for a week and make sure there are no pests on them. So I have two more little planty updates for you after this. The next update is the Hoya Crimson Princess that I had shown in my last video that was about to bloom. One of the peduncles opened up and is blooming. They're so beautiful, these flowers. I love them. The other one still hasn't opened up. Whoop. But this one, she's gorgeous. She just bloomed from this peduncle like a few weeks ago too. Maybe a month and a half ago. I think that's probably why there aren't quite as many flowers on it, but still beautiful. I've brought you through to my bedroom, and this may be a little bit too backlit for you to see, but this Hoya Burtonii, it's just covered Like, there are just a bazillion peduncles on it. It's going to flower all over the place. And it had been flowering for quite a while. And then it stopped, and like it was looking a little sad, and I didn't know what was wrong with it because I hadn't changed anything in my plant care. And all of a sudden it's just gone into blooming like crazy mode again. So I hope it's okay and not blooming like crazy, because it's feeling like it's on its last legs or something. Also, just while we're in here, can we just appreciate this Monstera Peru for a second? That's climbing up the wall and over there. I really love that. All right, one more plant update for you. So the last plant update for you is my Monstera Mint, and she is going to give me a new leaf again. I'm so happy. There we are. Now you can see that new leaf coming in. I'm so thrilled. It's 2 new leaves since I got it. And in the background behind it, you can see there's a variegated Alocasia Black Velvet. It's the pink variegated one. It's just teeny tiny still, so I'm waiting for it to get a little bigger to really show you guys it. And there's my Friedeck right here, looking beautiful. So here is that large section of plant stuck into my bathroom. Cutting growths that I already had of the adansonii. You can see the hideous artwork behind my bathroom plant. But you can see that the stuff that I just put in today is looking a little sad, a little bedraggled, but hopefully it will perk up. So we'll see how it does. Obviously this plant does not get enough light here in the bathroom. So the leaves are getting smaller as it trails down. But I just need something to hide that wall art. So thank you so much for joining me today. These are the cuttings from the pieces of top cut that I have. So there's still some really nice size leaves. I cut those top cuts into sections of 2 or 3. So I have top cuts and mid cuts in here now. But still, it should be nice. Once they start rooting, I will decide what I'm going to do with them. But for the time being, I have space on my counter in my kitchen that is free. And I can use it for my Monstera deliciosa when I bring it inside. In the meanwhile, I'll probably just stick these cuttings there to root because that's where it was growing before and it seemed happy enough there. As I said, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. It was not the most exciting video. I recognize that. My heart was not quite in it today. I'm just a little bit tired. I've done a lot already today and I'm a little bit tired and my heart just wasn't quite in it. But I hope you enjoyed it anyway. I hope maybe you learned something. Although I'm not sure that I taught anything because I just kind of took the plant off the moss pole, any old which away, and not according to the plan that I had thought of. But still, I hope you learned something. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe for more content. I promise my next video will be more showing plants off and less planty tasks that my heart is not as into that I'm doing on camera because that's going to force me to do them. Have a great day and I will see you in the next video. Bye!